Hey guys, welcome to Hex and Chill. This is Kay, Shay, and Lou, and today we're going to talk about our trip to Salem that we just got back from. It was a super fun experience, and we're excited to dive into all the moments we had, all the people we met.
The spooky times.
The spooky times.
I loved the spooky times.
Spooky. We will be sharing a bunch of TikToks about our experience this week with this podcast. And so you probably have already seen some of them and you're going to see more. So we're just really excited to share this experience with you guys.
And as always, we have opened our circles.
We welcome water into our circle.
Welcome fire, welcome air.
And we welcome earth.
Ooh, we haven't done this in a while.
So we invite you to open a circle if you'd like to, and we invite you into our sacred space. I don't know why I kept getting quieter.
Okay, now it's music. All right. I love
silence.
The music. So Salem was really, really fun, and we ended our trip very uniquely. And we're going to talk about our very last moments together as a coven in Tennessee when we got back. And Lou was sitting behind a group of 23-year-old boys, and she has a great, because I'm on the other side. Listen, let's just set up this scene for you. We're on Spirit Airlines. I'm on a seat by myself next to a gentleman who wouldn't even look at me. He was so awkward. It's fine. Live your life, dude. And then Shay and Lou.
I was in the window. So it was Shay in the aisle seat, our friend in the middle.
Cat. And then Lou has the window seat.
Yes. So prior to getting on the plane, I gardened, as we all know that I do, because I wanted to have a great time on the airplane.
She took some gummy bears.
Yes. And I fell asleep. I was knocked out. And then I don't know how long I was asleep. It was probably, there was 30, 20, 25 minutes left of the flight since I came back.
Well, no, it was because they were passing out drinks.
Yeah.
It was mid-flight.
Okay, so
I don't know. I feel like you maybe were asleep for maybe 20, 25 minutes and
also
then woke up.
To set up my scenario, I am watching Pride and Prejudice on my phone.
And I'm reading A Court of Wings and Ruin.
So me and Shay are totally disconnected. And then Lou is asleep.
Okay, so then I wake up because there's a whole bunch of kerfluffle going on or whatever, and they're doing the drinks. And so the guy in front of us he's haggling with the flight attendant trying to get more alcohol. He's already
you can only
really
have
drunk.
3 drinks.
Yeah, and he's like, how much can you get me before you cut me off? And the guy's like, I'll give you 3 drinks. And he's like, okay, I want 3 Bud Lights. And he's like, we only have 1 Bud Light. And he's like, okay, can I get Heinekens? Like Bud Light and Heineken. And it took them 10, 15 minutes to get to the final answer, which was 1 Bud Light, 1 Heineken, and 1 vodka cran. Where did the vodka cran come from?
I don't know. I'm literally locked into my movie the whole time. I just keep up and I'm like, why are these flight attendants next to me for so freaking long? There's a girl standing behind them waiting who had gone to the bathroom and she can't get back to her seat because this guy is taking it was 15 minutes.
It was so long.
It was wild.
And me being stony baloney, I thought this was hilarious. Kat had to restrain me from leaning forward and trying to talk to them because I was just losing it. They finally got the order. They finally got everything figured out. They kept moving the carts and everything. And I yelled out to the flight attendant, I was like, hey, can I get a vodka cran? And obviously I was joking, but I was just laughing hysterically. And then the guy turns around. He's like, man, I'm so sorry. I'm so drunk and I'm sorry for being obnoxious. And that is where our friendship started.
This is also St. Patrick's Day, by the way. And so this have been drinking since the sun came up.
10 a.m. Yeah. They're from Boston. His name is Patrick. So Patrick and I quickly become best friends.
Also, I am sitting here and I take down my headphones, pause my movie. I look at Shay and I'm like, what is happening? I didn't know any of that story until now. All I know is that they were just standing here and I'm keep on glancing over and Shay's glancing up from her book. We're like, what is happening? Patrick is drunk. And I didn't know until later that the other boys who were on the aisle with me, like on the other side, weren't actually his friends.
Correct.
They were just boys on the plane that met. I thought they were all like buddy buds.
Nope, they were all just college.
The guy on the end, I don't remember what his name was, but he kind of connected more with me and Shay and was like, yeah, this is
His
all
last name is
really,
Shay.
really crazy. Oh, yeah, his name was Shay. He gave Shay a
He
fist
gave
bump.
me like 17 fist bumps.
Yeah, he
So
was
many
vibe. He
fist
was cool
bumps.
though. He was
Very
cool.
cool.
I liked him.
Yeah, but he really pissed me off because I overheard him like at the beginning of the flight where he was like, I didn't bring my AirPods. And then he told me that his phone was at 1%. And I was like, what's wrong with this guy? Like, he didn't bring a charger. I'm like,
Well, he had told
This
us that it was like
man-
a last minute, like they like bought tickets.
no. He said they bought tickets like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, whatever.
This was not that last
So you didn't
minute.
like this guy because his phone was dying?
But no, it was just,
mean,
This
it
guy
is-
really pissed me off. His phone was on 1%.
It's a red
And I
flag.
was like, get your shit together.
why doesn't it piss you off?
don't
How is he
know.
not prepared?
Because he's 23 and it's St. Patrick's Day.
When you were 23, you would have been
Also,
prepared.
they're not 23 because they're still in college. So they're like, no, I think they're
22.
22.
They were 22.
Oh my God.
They're babies.
This made us feel, this is the first
So-
experience in my
okay.
life when I was like, oh my gosh, I'm ancient.
No. So I don't feel like this. I deal with guys like this all the time at the bar that I work with. So I live for this. I love rejecting men because they love it. I think we need to take that out.
I love rejecting men, these scumbags of the earth.
So much fun. Okay.
Lou appreciates
Lou likes
when
having control.
Yeah, when young men hit on her and she goes, yeah, you can't afford me. That's Lou's favorite line of all time.
Because it was so funny. Okay, but let's go back and clarify. I am not a raging bitch. Anyways, with Patrick.
Her fingers are crossed. I'm just kidding. Take that out.
Anyways, so Patrick and I become best friends, and then he sees Kara and he is like, holy shit, that is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And then he starts hitting on Kara, and I have
He
to
keeps
tell
on
him,
like waving me down. I'm like pausing my movie, taking my headphones on. I go, yes. He goes, I love you. He keeps on saying, I love you. And I'm like, I love you too, Patrick. And I like put my headphones back on and I'm like, this kid, I'm like, I feel like a mother right now.
I know, it's great. And then he's like, is she available? I'm like, no, man, she's married and has 3 kids. You're lying. Is she happily married? Yes, her husband is actually the most amazing man ever. He goes, damn.
Because he kept on inviting us
really
downtown.
missed
He's
it.
like, you guys coming downtown? You coming
And
downtown
you
with
guys
us? And I
always
was like,
said no to get them to shut up. You just say yes. You just say
I did
it.
say yes. I said, yeah, I'm going to meet you downtown.
Yeah, and then I mean, he did kind of shut up.
Did a little bit.
A little bit, but then he kind of kept going back to
And when
because he was so drunk, he kept forgetting
Yes,
answers
I
to
like
questions.
ended up kind of just ignoring him. Like I would
Yes.
randomly get flagged down. I would talk to
Very
him.
slightly engaged.
I was talking with him basically until we landed. It was fun. It was good humor. He ended up saying that he wanted me to wait for him for 2 years until he graduated and he became a health inspector.
The best part of this was his real friend. His friend that he was on the airplane with was very drunk and asleep. And when we got up off the plane, this kid was like, get off the plane.
And was
Patrick.
shoving him.
He was shoving him. He was so
Kept turning around and going,
pissed.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
He was so mad at his friend. It was hilarious. We were so excited not to be on the same tram getting back to the baggage claim.
Oh my gosh.
But anyways, so rewind, 5 days from that? We spent 5 days in Salem and it was really, really, really fun. We got to experience so much of the history. It was very fun culturally to be a part of, we were all from the South, so it was fun to be not in the South. Part of Massachusetts, there was a large amount of trans people we saw and very openly out and happy gay, and just felt more safe than the South.
It just felt really open. Like walking around in Salem I didn't ever feel unsafe except for when we were trying to cross those crosswalks that are so crazy. The statue one in front of the Witch Museum.
Yeah, they drive. I mean,
They
know.
drive,
Have you ever
yes.
been in New York where it's scary?
Yeah.
And
They
Shay
don't
did a
care.
great job. She drove
Oh my
us.
gosh. She's the ultimate queen.
We got road rage. Shay. But you have to be there. You have to be aggressive
gosh,
because you'll be just
I would not make
run
it.
over by cars.
We wouldn't go anywhere. We'd
Yeah.
sit there.
Correct.
So we're going to just kind of talk about our favorite parts of this trip. The first day we got there, we did.
the Lizzie Borden house.
So we got to the Lizzie Borden house. And to set this up too, we were not planning to go there first. That was like our last day on our itinerary. And because of a mix up with the car and stuff, we were like, let's just do it today.
Let's just do it today.
Because we're not going to have enough time the last day. So we got to the Lizzie Borden house, and we actually really, this experience for us was really awesome. It was one of the highlights for all three of us. And we want to do a podcast dedicated to the Lizzie Borden house. And so we're going to keep all the juicy stuff other than saying we had the best tour guide.
Yes.
We had the best tour guide. Lainey.
I know. If
We
you
love you.
are listening, we love you so
She made the
much.
experience great.
She really did. She was so kind. This was my second time touring the Lizzie Borden house, and she was like so cool. Then we got like the extra add-on where we got to go into the basement. She was like talking to us for probably way longer than she should have, and was arguing to us about our podcast and ended up following us. So shout out to Lainey.
If you're listening to this,
Best
you're
tour
going
guide ever.
You're going to be in this podcast about this because you really inspired us. We kind of want to dive into Lizzie's story more and kind of figure out how we all feel because we're all kind of feeling a little bit different about her story.
So after we visited the Lizzie Borden house, we also went to their gravesite too, which was, like Kay said, we are all kind of pulled in different directions on kind of how we feel about the story. So we ended up just doing like one little memorial candle at their grave, which was really, I thought, really special and just cool.
And we had a fun experience using the ghost box there.
Yes.
It was a little... Anyways, you will hear all of this. I hope you guys are excited about it. And after that, we then drove to Salem and we got to our inn, the Daniels Inn. It was fun. It was spooky. It's one of the, like we talked about.
It was so, okay. I think I have a little bit of a different perspective because I'm the tallest one in our group.
Oh, yeah.
So when we got to the inn, and I genuinely had no expectations of what our room would look like, what our bathroom would look like. I didn't really know anything. So we get there and we had to walk up three flights of stairs, which they were like small stairs. It wasn't a big deal, but it's old New England. So they're so steep and narrow. And so we're hefting our ginormous suitcases up there. I almost fall backwards 15 times because it's counterbalanced. And then we get inside and we're on the third floor, which means it's like one of the half floors or whatever. My head can touch the ceiling if I stand under the beams. And sleeping in the bed, my feet were always hanging over the edge. Taking a shower, the girls were laughing at me because I literally could not stand in the shower. I had to crouch down, and I'm only 5'9". I am not that tall. I can only imagine like my dad or some of my cousins who are like 6'7". Anyways, it was really cool.
Yeah. It was just that it had that very much old New England feel, which was what I liked about it. It
is the oldest bed and breakfast in the United States.
Which I think we talked about.
Still running.
Yeah, that's still running. And so it was a really fun experience just to be in this location. We had a lot of fun ghost experiences there. I think the first night, I think Shay's going to talk about it because I think it's one of your highlights of kind of paranormal moment for you where it just really hit Shay the first night. And we kind of had to like talk to the ghost. And then after that, it kind of dissipated.
So, yeah. One, like you said, 1666 was when it was starting to be built. This house existed before like the Salem Witch Trials happened. So I think for me, like it was really cool to be in the history. Like these are the bones of like when this happened, even before that time, which I thought was cool. So I will say though, I have never had a ghost experience or a paranormal experience before, but I am for sure I experienced something here. So like Lou was talking about, man, that shower was rough. I'm 5'3" and I was terrified. I could not be underneath the shower head. That was not a thing for me. But the other thing that made it really creepy is that like in the shower, you could see above the curtain. I am not used to that as a short woman, okay? Or a below average woman.
Below average. What am I then?
You're short.
Yeah, I'm 5 foot. This was awesome, guys. It was like I was seeing for the first time.
Yeah, Kay's like, I could live on the servant/child floor the rest of my days. So anyway, as I'm showering, I can see like right above the shower curtain. And I don't know, that freaked me out. I just felt like someone was staring at me like through that little crevice there.
And we had all gone to sleep, by the way, too. She decided to take a shower late that night, and we had all like crawled in bed. And so she's not only by herself in the shower, she's kind of like by herself because we're asleep.
Right. And there was nobody else on our floor either. Like, this is a bed and breakfast, but like, I mean, it was dead. So like no one else, everyone was out except for me and whatever was staring at me. I don't know. I kept thinking of so there's like a story about this called, or one of the ghosts that haunt, like I think we talked about it, called the Pinstripe Man. I literally thought it was him. But
That's so scary.
It's neither here nor there. Then I settled down into bed, even though I very scared, washed my face, closed my eyes. That was terrifying. Anyway, I settle into bed and I just feel this very like faint little walk, kind of like a cat would behind your back, like as if they were trying to cuddle up with you. And
this place does have a ghost cat. That's one of the other two. There's like two big things that are seen, the Pinstripe Man and then a cat.
Yep. And so I was like, okay, I don't know if that's my brain or my body just like doing weird things, trying to settle down. But that felt crazy. But it didn't feel bad. Like it didn't feel scary like in the bathroom. Then I went to sleep and then, yeah, I don't know, man, though.
You just kind of felt like you were being watched the whole night, right?
I did. I felt very nervous.
That first night I felt that same way. Like I felt someone was like sitting on that sofa and just kind of watching. And for me, I'm a little bit more sensitive to that world. And when I came into the bathroom, there was this little toy that's this actually pretty racist toy that was built. It's called the Dinah. It's like this
Dinah piggy
and this
bank.
one was, it's not the super racist crude one, but it still was a shape of an African-American piggy bank made during slavery time. Anyways, I had already seen one in a pawn shop a while back and it gave me the ick at the pawn shop.
Yeah.
And so when I walked in the bathroom and I saw this thing again, I immediately was like, there is something not very good attached to this. It felt bad. I mean, I don't know if the girls remember. I walked in, I was like, guys, there's something freaky in the bathroom and I do not like it. And so the fact that Shay had that experience the first night was like in the bathroom kind of gave like testimony to me about like, well, maybe that thing did have, because we had a few experiences in the bathroom. One time I was in there and one of the drawers just started like wiggling, the little like knob, like someone was sitting there just kind of like playing with it. And I was like, hey guys.
Didn't it also open on you too?
Oh, no. Yeah. It opened a little bit and like stuff like that. And then another one was like the girls by themselves and the trash can just started kind of moving. We had a lamp that started they had like beads on it and it started jiggling. Like we had a lot of moments that were like physical.
I mean, I
got touched.
I can't prove if this is true or not, but I did have 2 bruises on my legs that I have
no idea.
I have no idea.
Listen to this. We did the Estes Method one night. We sat there. If you guys don't know what the Estes Method is where you use a spirit box that goes through radio stations at a fast speed, and spirits are able to use the radio wavelengths, frequencies to like kind of say words. And you plug it into your headphones so you're just listening and you don't hear the questions, but people ask you questions. And I said, I see all the bruises. Do you guys remember me saying that?
Oh, yeah.
I said, I see all the bruises. And that was the longest sentence I heard on the thing. And this was like before you got the bruises, which was so weird.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you should go back and watch it because you guys kind of ignored it because it was like nonsense to you at the moment. You're like,
well, I think it was drawn apart. Like it was really.
No, it was all together. Oh. I see all the bruises.
I'm showing my bruises. This one is not as bad right now, but like yesterday and the day before, it got worse all of a sudden. I don't know how, but that one I didn't notice it until after Salem, but they're in similar spots and it looked like
it did look like hands. And Lou had done the Estes Method before me and she had felt someone touch her leg. And it's not the spot where the bruises are, but she felt something. So maybe like you felt the essence before it grabbed you, but you didn't feel the actual grab.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you guys saw me jump like.
Yeah, you freaked out.
Well, and the next night I felt like someone run their finger down my spine. So we each had these like weird, like, I've never been physically touched. And so your rational brain also goes, oh, it's just my PJs or.
Yeah.
But it's weird when it's happening to you and you're like, okay, my brain can make this logical. But in the moment I'm like, but we've had all these experiences. We did the Estes Method. We also used the flashlight where you leave it on the counter and allow it to be turned on and off. And that was our best tool this trip.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
We used it so much. And it was crazy because, so like Kay talked about, we ended up, I feel like we spoke to whatever was in the bathroom because it was kind of messing with us. But I feel like we had this whole moment where after we did the Estes Method and we had like asked a bunch of questions, after that, we would turn the flashlight on and nothing would happen.
Yeah, we would leave it for a long time and nothing would happen.
I mean, we would do it for the whole night and every single time there's nothing. But that first night when we like had a conversation with it, we're like, you need to stay over there and not mess with us. That was when we stopped feeling things and like
it was gone. It was turning off and on, off and on.
Yeah.
And we used it another night and it did the same thing, but it was like, it confirmed to us that like we left it in the same spot every time. We left it in the same like position. And the fact that sometimes it was used and sometimes it wasn't gave it a little bit more oomph to the fact that something was using it.
Right.
Right. Because
Right.
if it just randomly turned off and on constantly, then you would be like,
then
well,
it's
but probably
this was so well, like it was timed.
two questions.
Yes, 2 questions. Like when we would say, okay, can you please turn it off? Immediately off.
Yeah. And a lot of ghost hunters use this method because it is a very simple way for ghosts to manipulate something so easy for yes and no questions and not try to like come through a device. So that's ghosts. We might also delve more into our ghost stories
we
because
should.
we have a lot more. And being in such an old place, it kind of gave us that ability to because it gave us
Yeah.
more
Well-
encouragement that maybe something would talk to us.
It just feels older there. And it is older, but just the buildings and the roads and being by the sea. I love being by the ocean. It's just something magical about it. And I just love the energy from it. So our first night, we do all of that. We also went on a 3-hour walking tour of
And
Salem.
it was freezing.
It was so cold.
Our guide was interesting.
He was very interesting. I found him, we did a private tour with him, and he went through a lot of the history of Salem with us.
A lot of maritime history.
Yes, a lot of maritime history, which I had no idea about it. And just giving more context to how the people, where their mindset was, and just where they were in the time during the witch
It was
trials.
great. Like historically, yes, it was promised a ghost tour, and it was more like, here's all the history. Now, if you take a photo, there might be a ghost in that window, and you're like, can you tell me more about the ghost? No, but I still enjoyed it just because we got a really good glimpse of history that we didn't know about. We knew a lot more about the Salem Witch Trials and that aspect of it, and this was more Nathaniel Hawthorne was a big subject, and so all of that was very interesting. And he pointed out Alice Parker, who's one of the victims of the Salem Witch Trials, where her house was, and from the very beginning, we felt very connected to Alice the whole time because she's a very forgotten name in general in the Salem Witch Trials. She's kind of tacked on. And so the fact that we dived a little bit more into her story was really important to all of us, I think.
Yeah, I think about too, like part of the story with how her house had been moved from one side of the street to the other that currently exists. But the side of the street that we were on across the street where her house currently resides or sits, what used to be just like mudlands. It was really cool to stand in the spot where Alice Parker also stood when she was shucking and like trying to like find mussels and fish when her husband was away. And that was the land that they coveted, you know, like, okay, I get it. But like also like just to see how it's changed over the centuries has been really, really wild.
Yeah.
And cool to think about.
So that was our first night in Salem. Then we went home and took a nap and woke up at 2:30 in the morning to go do our blood moon ritual.
Yeah, that was the first night that we were there, and the moon was a blood moon, and then it also was an eclipse. So we woke
was
up.
so cool. So it was the worm moon and a blood moon eclipse.
And this was the night that Shaylin was having all that paranormal stuff. So she woke up, and she was, I think, honestly, you were charged in the sense that, I feel like you were seeing things that we couldn't see because you were in that aspect of, not that your brain was playing tricks on you because you were scared. I think you were in this moment of like more clarity.
Or even
because,
like peering through the veil.
Yeah, it was allowing you, because you were sitting in it with a little bit of fear, but like you did feel safe because you were with us.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking for you, but that's what you were kind of giving off. Like
Yeah.
you were like, 'cause she kept on being like, there's somebody watching us from that window. And I was like, I believe you. I feel it. I don't see it. And she was like, I see it. Like, and I was like, that's super, super cool. But that moon was amazing.
Oh, it was so beautiful.
We sat there, we looked at it, we talked to it.
We didn't howl.
We did not howl.
Because there's a lot of houses and people in Salem.
And they're old walls that don't have any.
We would definitely have been arrested. And that was one of our goals, not to get arrested on the trip.
Exactly. But we all...
That was y'all's goal? Dang it.
Yeah, I got arrested 5 times, guys.
I'm
I don't know what
sad
I'm
to
talking about.
report that was not the case. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, that was so much fun, and it set the tone for the whole time. We were tired the next day, but we made it through with lots of coffee. We went to BlackCraft Coffee. Oh my gosh. So good. Listen, it was aesthetically very, very pleasing. All black, that beautiful witch that was hanging from the ceiling.
Yes, the witch statue. It's the biggest witch in Salem. And it's really cool to see because it actually represents a story of overcoming a fight with cancer. The owner of BlackCraft, they have these signs in the shop and in the coffee shop as well. 2 weeks before the shop was opened, the owner was diagnosed with cancer and immediately like, I'm going to fight it. I'm going to fight it. And then right before the opening actually happened, the day before, all her team surprised her with that giant statue. And so pretty. They named it after her. And yeah, it's really cool because so now it hangs in the shop.
How did I miss that?
I don't know. This also was in a bank. So it was like vaulted ceiling. So this witch hanging from this vaulted ceiling, this giant, beautiful witch. It was
so beautiful. And they had this mirror in there. Just like the gothic and goth and just all of the vibes. It was
went
incredible.
there several times. We also did their haunted house tour. It's not functioning during off season, but it was fun to go and see all the haunts that they had.
Scary.
We went to 2 other museums that had similar vibes, but they were horror things, which were all really, really, really fun. Cool. We went to 2 other ones that were.
We went to the Torture Museum.
Torture Museum was cool too. We went to these really unique.
There was a haunted It was like a haunted walkthrough, like a haunted house type situation.
One was a wax museum, which was Count Orlok's.
Which was really fun.
Yeah, loved it.
So
and
good.
all of the carvings were so accurate. I mean,
the nun
I don't want to
was
spoil
terrifying.
Oh my god!
They had like the picture frame nun. And I was like, no, you
with
can
her hands
stay
coming
there.
out of the picture, and it's the eyes follow you.
Yeah, and there was one room that we all got that weird vibe from.
Yes,
like they were all normal. Like, oh, you're a wax. Okay, this is fun.
Yeah,
but there was this one room that we all came out of, and we're like, I don't want to go back in there.
Yeah,
let's not go back in there. And then the other one we went to was just more like a.
Was it the Halloween museum?
Yeah, the Halloween museum in the mall.
Yes, which was actually really fun. If it can be take it or leave it, but like if you decide to go, like you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, we'll have a TikTok that shows some of these, and it'll give you an idea if you want to do it when you're in Salem.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of our favorite finds, which was not, I don't think it was on our list, was the Ouija Board Museum.
Oh, it was on my list. Okay. Oh, yeah, we talked about it.
See, okay, that
one was in my like, I need to do this or I'm going to murder everybody.
Okay, see, I thought I knew about it, but I guess I didn't because I don't know, when we walked in, it doesn't look like, it looks very unassuming and
it's a store.
Well, the front of the store is a Harry Potter store.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're just walking in and you're like, oh, okay, there is a place here. I can't remember what it's called, but it very similar vibes. You walk in, it's a store. I think I took you there. But then you can go in the back into their museum and it's very underwhelming. It's like, I understand what they're doing. And I was like, oh God, this is what we're about to walk into. And I was very, very wrong.
Oh yeah. I had seen a TikTok about the Ouija Museum and Ouija. I always say it wrong. We talk about this. If anybody knows why we say Ouija and it's actually Ouija, please say in the comments because I call it Ouija. Right. Even though it's Ouija. And I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
That's like a common
the more
mistake.
Common, yeah.
But I saw this TikTok and I was like, guys, we have to do this. And I think what Lou is also saying is we kind of stumbled upon it. Like we were walking home and I was like, oh guys, it's right there. And so we like ran over and went in. Like it was like a last minute, like we were on our way home. We were tired. And I was like, guys, we just have to do this real quick. Okay. And
I love that it was like one of the things that we're like, we can't just come back to it tomorrow. We have to do it right now or we lose it forever.
because it was, some of those things that we just like, we were like, had such a big list. And so sometimes we just had to hit it. And so we went in. This was my top two, I think. Like Lizzie Borden and then the Ouija Museum and then the Green Witch, which we'll talk about, are my top three things that happened in Salem. Also the memorial thing. But we went in and this guy who owns like all of the boards, he was there, the owner of all his collection. And it's just this guy, he's just like 40s man.
Yeah.
And he was amazing.
His name is John, and he is the coolest guy you'll ever meet. And the way that he greets everyone as soon as they walk in, he immediately asks them where they're from, and then he like just refers to them as that throughout the visit.
Yeah, like hey, Tennesseers.
Cool. Yeah, and it was really cool because he spent time talking with each group individually. Like when we walked in, we kind of had a moment to just kind of look around, and then immediately came over, asked us where we're from, and then jumped into a whole little section.
Like I was like, excuse me, do you have a ghost tour? Because I would love to hear you talk more. And he was like, and I do not. And I was like, dang it. Because like, he just gave that vibe off of his storytelling was immaculate.
Yeah, he was a phenomenal storyteller. You felt the way he would tell you things, you felt like you were there with him. And then you also have the actual physical Ouija boards there and like the chair that's there and just all of the different things. It was just amazing.
Yeah, he had really, really old ones to really current ones. I think one of my favorite things was they had this Stranger Things Ouija board, which is obviously current. And it's like the most charged one. Like people sent it to him. And we're like, hey, have this. I don't want it. Something's attached to it. So it's in this case and you can look at it. And I asked him, I was like, which one of these boards do you feel like is most haunted or has the most energy? And his response was like super interesting to me. He basically said that he is not afraid of any of them. He does not put in that energy towards them. And so he doesn't really receive anything back. He sees it as this collection, as this beautiful thing that he's gathering. And I think he puts a lot of love into these boards. And so anything that it's attached to it doesn't really want to like mess with him. Like they don't even like.
He's feeding it love and respect because he's respecting them and collecting them and not feeding them negativity. So there's no negativity to go off of it.
Right. And I think we talked about that one time when we were on our podcast of when you go into somewhere that's been super haunted, that when you go in with that fear, you bring in that fear and you add to that energy.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It was really, really cool. And
It was so cool.
we love you, John.
Yeah. I thought it was really neat too that like we're looking at all these different Ouija boards. Some of them are like ancient things that we've seen, and then go over to the Stranger Things one. Some say is supercharged. Hearing his experience of just kind of being like, oh, I don't really give them that energy. I don't really believe in the occult. Like, it's just kind of, I just like this. And how other people can experience something so differently because he doesn't give like that sort of thing the time of day. So there's no energy going into it. Whereas like other people who are,
Yeah.
there's like this lady who sat down in this really cool chair that's towards the front of the museum and immediately like started blacking out, feeling pressure in her head, like had to leave because she couldn't stand it. But like I sat in the chair and I was like, I feel nothing.
I felt pressure in I felt like the weight.
Well,
And Kat felt really weird in the chair. I think she's a little bit more sensitive to that
yeah,
stuff.
she couldn't breathe. Well, and then
she couldn't breathe.
The skeptic and the critic in me is like, well, of course we felt that way because he told us that we would feel that way.
Right.
But I also genuinely believe that I felt that, and I think there's power in that too, and not, I don't know.
And I think he told us that he did believe in ghosts and all that stuff. He just didn't give it happen to him. And so he was like, even like at one point he was like, I don't know why nothing happens to me. And then he explained, well, because I don't really give it energy. So that's why I believe it doesn't happen to me. But yeah, he was super cool and we really enjoyed John. And then that was the end of our second day. We went to a bunch of different places that were really cool, a bunch of shops. We can put out a list of all the shops we hit up. We tried to hit a bunch of them.
There's so many stores there. And you really like, we went into stores that we felt like looked good and felt good to us. And some stores were awesome. Some stores felt a little
Phony.
Kitschy.
yeah, kitschy, phony. And
Like, I could have bought this on Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one that we went to, we literally was like, that was an Amazon store.
Yeah.
Or some that just felt they were leaning into it a little bit more fake.
Yeah.
And less energy that was coming from a real
Or
witch.
that snake oil type.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they were trying to straight up rip you off, like that place Pentagram. I'm about to put them on blast. Trying to sell me a rose gold ring for $800 that I could look at on Amazon and get it for $3. Oh, nah. Y'all playing.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, there was one store that we didn't really like, but they had an Anubis stuffed animal doll, and I had to get it for my toddler. So
Which that's also the store that I had a really weird experience
you
in.
did have to, when that door
Yeah.
popped open for
That
you.
was so weird.
Oh,
So maybe-
that's what I was thinking.
So maybe we just were like, maybe the workers that day just were phony.
Yeah.
Maybe the place itself was not actually phony, but we just felt the energy of the.
But I don't know, but maybe it can be both. It can have phony aspects to it, but then also I'm not a phony, so I can have a real
Right.
interaction with something.
Yeah. So please go to all the stores and figure out how you feel.
Yes.
We bought a bunch of fun stuff and
Please.
Okay, wait. We should do like at least like our top 2 stores that we went to.
Okay, my top one store for the entire trip that there's nothing else is the All Souls Lounge.
That's not a shop.
You buy stuff there.
we ate at this All Souls Lounge. It was
we can
so
talk about
good.
our restaurants in a second. But we need to do shops first.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
I'm
Okay,
about to take
Ascend.
me some man candy home. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Listen, we don't have to talk about food because there was amazing food. We all we have to talk about is that we went to All Souls Lounge.
It was so good.
And it was once again a spur of the moment. We're like, that sounds like a good place. So we walked in. We had this amazing grilled cheese. We won't even explain it. You just have to go eat their grilled cheeses. And there was also a very attractive waiter.
Oh, see, I didn't remember that. I just was remembering the grilled cheese.
All she cared about was the grilled cheese. Nah, my man's over there. I don't even know what his name was, but he did ID Lou just for taking a sip of my drink.
that was a
My
little weird.
God,
Which was
that was
wild.
so frustrating. I am 31 years old, sir.
The crazy thing is that like nobody else ID'd us
At all.
ever.
Oh,
Sorry to put the
yeah.
Massachusetts people on blast, but like that guy, he was like, I'm gonna lose my license. Absolutely not.
I was like, here, I'm sorry.
Something bad happened to him at one point.
Okay, back
favorite
to
stores.
favorite stores.
Oh, I said mine, Ascend, the crystal store. I
yeah.
loved that place.
Ascend was great.
I just really liked the people there and the vibes.
The people were everything. They also do aura.
yeah, I got my aura
photos.
read, and that
Yeah.
was really,
really fun.
fun.
I really liked. We didn't buy anything there, but there was a store that the Green Witch. I don't even know what the store is called. Do you guys remember? But she was the Green Witch.
Oh, Artemisia.
Yeah, and she was so cool. She was this old lady who didn't give an F about anything. That's like she
anything.
gave that vibe of like we were like, hey, we were told about you by this one person, and she was like, okay, cool, but not like in a like sassy way, just like a nice to meet you. I think you're really yeah.
Cool.
She was really really sweet and really really cool, and I just vibed with her vibe.
Yeah.
I also love that, like, in order to get in, you have to like booty bump the
door.
yeah,
you
the door.
rip it open.
The crazy thing though is like on it, it literally says like just hip check the door. It'll behave or something like that. And I just thought that was so funny.
It was totally
And,
giving
like,
me practical magic vibes.
Yes,
just that feeling.
absolutely.
Like a real witch, just like doing her thing.
Yeah,
you know.
I didn't realize you liked that store so much.
Yeah, I just really liked her. She just gave me a really good vibe. So.
Yeah,
Love that.
she was cool.
My other one was Ye Old Candy Store.
Period.
That was so good.
Yale Candy Store is the oldest candy
Yeah.
store operational.
I feel like I also really loved Ascend. I also really loved Oak and Moss.
Oh,
with
yeah.
the little plant store. That was so
That
cute.
was so cute.
I
did
love that place.
oh,
and
the
I'm
Celtic
actually
place was cool too.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that
the-
one was
the
my
Cabin's
other
Cottage.
favorite.
Yes.
That one was my other favorite.
That one
Yeah.
felt very like we stepped into like a
Yeah.
Nordic.
Yes, I really loved that. And I
really
like
loved
I
that.
bought a little fertility bone, which was great.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
We actually bought a bunch of stuff there for our ritual that we did
did,
that night.
Yep.
So that was fun that we bought stuff in Massachusetts for it.
The other thing, like sad thing though, was that we were doing a hand fasting ritual and they had a literal hand fasting candle for sale. They were just out. And I was like,
But we
"Dang it."
instead bought these like really cool bells and we used that for our hand fasting. We wrapped around all four of our hands and did this really beautiful ritual. And I liked it because it was even though that it was funny that it was there and gone, these moments happened to us that were out of the ordinary or like just random that were like the most impactful for us, which I think is really cool. Like when you sum up our whole trip, like things that like weren't planned or happened randomly, or like we couldn't find something, so we just found something else, were like the most impactful for me. Like Lizzie Borden, random. Ouija board, random. The hand fasting, All Souls Lounge.
Our hand fasting, the herbs that we got, just everything.
At the cottage, it was just these really fun moments that just hit right, and it wasn't planned. And I think allowing ourselves to just flow, because none of it was like, okay, I guess we'll do this, okay, whatever. It was just like we were all in this kind of like, let's just flow, and we flowed, and it felt great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
We also gonna dive real quick at the end of this into the Salem Witch Trials, because although the other things are beautiful and wonderful, we went there to kind of connect with these women and the moments that they had during this trial. And so we did hit up all the big locations, the witch house. We went to the witch museum that told the story.
A version of the story.
A version of the story that was kind of weird. Oh my gosh, guys, I have to tell you something. My brother-in-law is a long descendant from Giles Corey.
No, he's not. Wait, which one?
Dang. My little sister.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because I was telling him about my thing, and he was like, "Oh, do you know the guy that was pressed to death?" And I was like, "Giles Corey." Giles Corey, that guy. Yeah, I know him. And he was like, "Yeah, like I'm related to him." And I was like, "No shit." Like it was.
So
really,
do you like
really funny.
to beat people to death?
Yeah.
Sir? Sir?
I was like, he has a little dicey history. And he's like, yeah, we know. And I was like, okay, just so you know.
We know.
But
he's a scar on the family name.
Yeah. But we hit those spots. They were really impactful. And then we also went to the memorial sites for the witches. And we did
We did a ritual to honor and just show our respect. And I think I had this realization. We call ourselves witches. And we went to Salem to honor these women who were accused as being witches. And I wonder how these women, like, if we could sit down and have a conversation with them now, if they would be like talking to us like that we're stupid for saying that we're witches and doing all of this, or like, because they were accused of this, and some of them could have very well been witches or whatever, but I don't know. I just that was something that I was thinking about during our time there, and just thinking, I think it's so ironic and so fitting for Salem to be like the witch capital in the US when it was originally intended to be a light on the hill for Jesus and everything.
Well, and the fact that, like, vibing off that comment, I didn't feel very connected to the spirits there. Like when we did that thing, it was more the honoring of what happened to them. And we left a candle for each of the names. And it was a very impactful moment for all of us. But I never felt like their presence was there being like leading us or something. It was more of this just honoring them and what happened to them, and shedding light on like women who were falsely accused and put through this, like not necessarily, hey, like let's celebrate witchiness for them.
Yeah. I also love that we didn't really feel their presence, because hopefully that also means that the hurt that this area caused didn't cause them to stay behind and not move on.
Yeah.
I would hope that, as like we believe in past lives and we believe in all these things, and we are growing as spirits, souls, whatever we are, echoes, and every time we come back and we're growing and we're getting deeper and deeper. So the fellow women that were killed in the Salem Witch Trials, they've come back and they have done other things, and we could be one of them. Who knows? Yeah. But it's just so like, yes, if we had a conversation with them in 1692, we would be the heretics and we would be the worst and everything. But I really want to believe that they can see us for our hearts and see us for who we are, or what, and it's not just, oh, you guys are a bunch of heretical women, you should burn at the stake instead.
Well, and hopefully, I think once we get past this physical realm that we are in now and be able to cross beyond all the bullshit, the idea that you're coming to someone with love and saying, I might not have understood you at this time, but I am here with love. And that's what I felt that night when we were doing the ceremony. It was this, I am so sorry that this happened to you. I wish the world wasn't so cruel. I wish that just because of who you are and the circumstances that were dealt to you didn't allow you to just be targeted and hung because you were a woman who was poor. Very much so we felt very connected to Alice Parker and Sarah Good and Bridget Bishop specifically on this trip. I just think that there was a few women that we were like, our hearts felt for and connecting to them and just.
Only John Proctor.
Yeah. And John Proctor, who, stood up for his wife.
Reputable man.
It didn't feel like we were like connecting to our witchiness with them. It just felt more that moment of being very open and honest with them. And I think that was something that we talked about, how like the witchiness of this trip didn't really hit hard for us. It was more of just this experience of as a coven coming together and honoring and becoming more one with each other and telling stories and getting drunk and running around Salem. And it just was this very connecting thing for us. And it wasn't like a life-altering witchy moment where we all woke up and had a third eye, whatever, like it was more just a bonding moment for all of us, especially our fourth coven member who kind of jumped into this with us. It was just really fun to be connected together.
It was very fun. And I totally agree. And I think the reason all of the witchy things that happened on our trip was because of our intentionality and the things that we brought and the things that we're infusing. And I think that's honestly the biggest lesson. Obviously, there's more witchy, quote unquote, witchy places than others, but ultimately, we are witchy because we are together.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Wow.
Oh my God.
The Coven.
The Coven.
The Coven. Oh, yeah. Our tour guide kept on coming to us. Oh, I have a Coven with us.
Yeah, I think overall we're just really excited to just dive in even further than we already have with our coven and getting to know each other even like we already have on this social level, but now we're getting deeper and deeper into all the different onion layers.
Well, and it was fun as a coven, the four of us, as in our friendships and everything, in our relationships. It's interesting because we haven't really had those tense moments. We went on a trip together and we had more tense moments because you're spending 6 days with people that you don't normally live with. People get ready at different times. You have to share a shower, all of these things. And it was just cool for us to work through that as well. And not that we had really tense times or arguments, because we didn't at all. But I'm just saying
we almost all fought each other in the parking lot.
We almost threw down. I almost punched Shay.
Right in the face.
4 times.
I pulled them apart. No, I agree. Like there was like tense with air quotes. Not even that.
Yes.
It was more like, you're not my husband. And I'm sleeping with you guys. And it's just your mind getting used to being with people that you're not around constantly.
Yeah.
And it's like, once you're around those people, like if we then lived together for another month, those things would dissipate because you get used to them.
And it's like when we get to spend all of that time together, the walls are coming down a little bit, so we don't have to be quite as pleasant. Like I was hangry with y'all a couple of times and I apologize, but like I normally am not like that. Normally I can keep it in check, but we were all just being real.
Yeah.
No, you just wanted a nap all the time.
I do love
And
naps.
Kara was like, how?
We must see everything.
I'm a Taurus. I love naps.
I also love naps. I take one every day, but my brain was like, we must see everything. And we did. We did a good job.
We did.
I think we hit everything. Nothing was disappointing.
And I didn't take a goddamn nap, and I was
didn't?
great. I was perfectly fine.
Yeah, we just had to give her snacks.
Yes, more
And
snacks.
Luckily, Kat had a snack bag and we ate off it all the time.
It was
We
great.
used all of our bags. There's going to be a TikTok about it. We used our ghost bag, our gardening bag, our protection bag a lot.
Yes.
To wrap it all up, our trip was amazing. We enjoyed it. We grew. We want to go again. If you guys have any interest in specific things that happened, we will dive into more. We're going to talk more about Lizzie Borden, and we're probably going to talk another one about more of the ghost things that happened to us. Because this podcast is already getting too long, and we could probably talk about Salem for another 5 hours. So we're going to wrap it up right now.
We gotta go get some Chinese food.
Yeah, we're going to go eat some food, but we're going to do our tarot pool, and then we're going to say peace out to you guys tonight. All right, so I have our regular deck, and I got the Hangman reversed. It is about delays, standstills, resistance, stalling, indecision, fear of sacrifice, and lack of control. Interesting.
Okay.
I don't know what that means for you out there, but there you have it.
All right, for our mineralogy deck, we have Jade. This is a stone that controls your solar plexus chakra, and its metaphysical meanings or needs are concentration, unconditional love, fidelity, harmony, health, justice, protection, luck, beauty, energy, stress relief, perspective, wisdom, and growth.
That is a powerful stone.
Yeah, man.
For our apothecary deck, we pulled parsley, which I just learned this. This is very cool. So the practical uses, it's used for bladder infections or kidney stones, eases constipation, good for skin health, and it improves digestion. For the magical properties, you can place the seeds on an altar to protect from negative energy, and it's useful for divination, dream work, and good for cleansing.
I'm very interested to hear what your interpretations of these cards are, what that means for you. And maybe you can give us an interpretation of what this means for us and what we experienced on our trip.
I love that.
All right, my friends, please check us out on TikTok. Leave us a like, follow, subscribe, do all of the things. We're going to go ahead and close up our circle. Thank you, air. Thank you, fire. Thank you, water. And thank you, earth. We'll see you next time.
Delighting me, still delighting you.
Later, witchlings.
Can you give us a little wrap up? Are you exactly?
Okay, great.
Hey, sorry, I'm breathing so deep.
Oh my god! Do you guys remember that laugh I did?
Yeah, that was funny.
I can't remember it at all.
It was like a
a weird.
That was on the podcast?
really
or?
cackle. No, it was when we were in Salem. She was like, like that.
Because she's a witch.
She's a witch.
I'm not a witch. I'm your wife.
Okay. Talking about our trip to Salem that we just basically got back from how many days? A week ago?
Don't tell them that. That's too much information.
Sorry. My social security card.
And my credit card number. Hey, we're talking about our trip to Salem.
Talk, talk,
What
talk,
the heck?
Talk, 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 talk.
Let's get loud. Let's get loud.
Okay. I think
Let's get physical.